Vortex. I was just thinking about my past life and all the crazy shit that I've done. And depending on like what video you end up watching or what poster you look at, because I do a lot of posters. It's kind of like graffiti in a way. I've always been a fan of graffiti. But that's because I grew up in the 90s. So a lot of the stuff that I like, and a lot of the ways that I behave, the ways that I dress, the way my house is set up and everything, it's like a fucking time capsule, dude. Because I don't like this world. I don't like this era. And you can say that I'm stuck in the past, or I'm just determined to remain a child forever. Well, it's cool that I have schizophrenia because it allows me to be that child. Like, I continue to look at things the way that I did back then. I continue to look at people, places, and things the way that I did back then. And that's why children are so valuable. But that's why they try to get them young, and they try to corrupt them. And they want them to be political. They want them to be sexualized, which is really fucked up. But it's mainly because of the internet. They can keep blaming the LGBT shit, but they wouldn't be anywhere near as powerful if it weren't for the internet. So if you really don't want your kids to be gay, don't let them on the internet. And don't let them leave the house either. No, but really though, there are a lot of things that factor in to why like people identify the way that they do. But it has way more to do with culture, and it has way more to do with nurture than it does nature. And so my favorite song is about to play. But yeah, you know, I made a lot of mistakes in my early 20s. I made a lot of mistakes when I was a teenager. I lost my virginity. I stole a bunch of shit. I started taking an SSRI, which made me even more prone to stealing shit. Because psychiatric medication and shoplifting go hand in hand, literally. You got pills in one hand, and you got stolen merchandise in the other. And I know that there are plenty of people that take medication that don't steal shit. But what I'm saying is that stealing provides a rush. When you go in a store and you pocket something, that's a rush like no other. Okay? And when you walk out and you get away with that, you just want to do it again. And I was on medication that fucked with my dopamine levels. And so I wasn't able to function the way that I was used to functioning. So it makes sense why I would do something that created that kind of a rush for me. And I would get addicted to it. You know? But I do think, though, that I would have been an alcoholic no matter what. Because people that are mentally ill typically develop some sort of addiction problem. Because we have OCD. And that's really what it boils down to with substances. Because once you allow yourself this little passageway into like another realm of existence, you know, once you allow yourself to live in this altered reality, it's like, why wouldn't you do that all the time? You know? I don't think it's that hard to understand. People want to act like addiction is so fucking deep. It's not, honey. It's childhood trauma. It's childhood trauma, and maybe it's the trauma of just having to exist in this fucking world, and you want to escape. So it makes sense why you'd get addicted to a substance that allows you to escape. But the thing is, though, I could never seem to do that, which I think is why I was a blackout drunk. Because every single time that I got blacked out drunk, I would always be like really, really destructive and prove to the class that I wanted to kill myself. So if you're drinking a lot, or you're on some drug that you probably shouldn't be on because of the consequences of doing excessive amounts of it, yeah, that probably means that you experience some sort of trauma, and this is your way of dealing with it. And that's why I don't like 12-step programs, because they try to whittle it down to just, oh, you're an addict, or you're an alcoholic, or whatever. That's just a label. That doesn't get down to the root of the problem. And maybe you'll never be able to safely use that. I mean, I don't think that I'll ever be able to safely use alcohol because of the fact that I'm obsessive compulsive. So I'm not even going to chance it. I've already done it enough times. I've already had enough failed experiments. I don't need to keep on going. But there are a lot of people I know, though, that had some alcoholic streak at some point in their life, and they got over it, and now they're able to drink normally. I don't think that I'll be one of those people because, I'm not a normal person. So me thinking that I'll ever be able to drink normally is me thinking that, at some point, I won't stay up till 6 a.m. At some point, I'll be able to have a conventional life and get married and have kids and shit like that. I think that everything's on a spectrum, right? So if you're further along on the spectrum, the chances of you living a conventional life are a lot slimmer. People that are just kind of crazy, seasonally crazy, they have a much higher chance at being able to live that kind of life and, not losing their damn mind because of it. But I know the kind of thoughts that I have. And so it's not really about my emotional nature. It's more about my mental nature. It's the stuff that I think about, the intrusive thoughts that I have that are always violent or sexual. And it's like I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to not just expose myself to things that I won't be able to handle, but it's like now I've got somebody else in tow. I've got somebody else that's relying on me. It was bad enough when I was with somebody. I don't know why people don't desire to be alone. Like, that's crazy to me, man. Because I just love being alone. That's why I enjoy this channel. That's why I have so much content. Because, in case you haven't noticed, there ain't nobody on this channel but me. Okay? Occasionally, Ronit might make an appearance. People that I work with might make an appearance. But it's not because I wanted them to. They just show up. So, born alone, you'll die alone. And it doesn't matter, how many people you have surrounding you on your deathbed. You're with God.
You're with God, so how are you alone anyway, you know? But I know that definitely sounds like a cope. It's always going to sound like a cope to somebody that doesn't understand it, you know? If you're saying something that is contrary to what is generally accepted, people are going to say it's a cope. People are going to say, oh, you're just pathetic. You're just lying to yourself because you can't accept that you're not going to have this. I accepted that like when I was 6 years old. Playing with baby dolls and shit. Like, there's a reason why they push that shit on little girls. It's because they want it to be something that they're conscious of, you know? Like, this is what you're supposed to do. But, you know, when I was playing with Barbies when I was a kid, it's like, I didn't play with them right. I made them all gay. I literally made all my Barbies gay. I, like, cut all their hair and, like, I knew that there was something wrong with me. That's what I found so funny about that Barbie movie. It was like the weird Barbie that was played by Kate McGinnon, who's a lesbian. But yeah, some people are just wired that way, and they're not gonna not be wired that way, all because, you know, they don't want to be wired that way, or they recite enough, you know, messages to themselves trying to change who they are. You know, I don't agree with that at all. Like, I don't agree with conversion therapy or anything like that. It's like, you know, if you don't like being gay, you don't have to act gay. You don't have to act on any impulse, you know? I didn't like being an alcoholic, so I stopped drinking. I look at it the same exact way. But, you know, there are certain things about me, though. Like, I know that I'm not going to be able to change the thoughts in my head. And, you know, if I'm attracted to women, or I'm attracted to dudes that are masculine, maybe I'm attracted to them for like a minute, and then I realize that I'm way more masculine than them, and that bothers me, and I lose that attraction. I think I'm just like very primitive, and my primitive nature makes it impossible for me to be attracted to most people that exist right now, because it's like so very few people are actually in tune with that. So very few Americans really appreciate what our ancestors did. So they can wave that American flag all they want, but if they're spending more time watching TV than talking to their children, then it doesn't really matter, does it? It's like people are way more of a product of their environment than they are a person of substance, a person that is legitimately conscious of their existence and, you know, where they come from. So, look, Vortex, it's our tree. I talk in generalities, which I realize is super offensive because most people aren't comedians, most people are candy asses, so they don't actually care about people. Like, this candy assery of theirs doesn't actually serve them. But I've noticed that people don't seem to mind judgment as long as you're judging one person for their actions. But if you make general statements about the public, or perhaps you make general statements about entire groups of people, people get very upset. And I can understand somewhat, because it does sound like you're trying to tell everybody what to do. I guarantee you that's not it. At least not for me. I wish that people would act right. I wish that people would appreciate what they have and stop whining about what they don't have. But I try to make do with my circumstance. I don't feel sorry for myself. When I was younger, I did, but that's because I didn't understand it, and then I worked to understand it, and now it's like the best thing that ever happened to me. It's like I'm a sponge, you know? And so I have to preserve, you know, the little amount of sanity that I have. I have to preserve my peace. And if I don't, then, you know, I want to kill myself. And so it's not surprising at all that all these people are on psych meds, because, like, they're just giving in to all these things that are designed to make them feel like shit, you know? And they don't understand their own nature. And I've noticed that a lot of these people, that it's like they're in this a consciousness competition, you know? It's like they want to pat themselves on the back for all the stuff that they think they know. And it's like, if you really knew so much, it wouldn't be something to gloat about. It would just be something to get on your knees and thank the Lord for. Thank you for giving me this knowledge that so many people don't have. And because, yeah, you definitely have an advantage, man. If you know stuff that other people don't about your nature and about the world's nature, then yeah, you are at a major advantage over the majority of people that live right now. And if you're actually humble about it, and you don't use it as some sort of, like, flag that you can wave in other people's face and to try to make them feel bad for not having it, you know, you really are at an advantage. But I gotta go to work. Bye-bye.